Hi, my name is Shay, here with Shay Tech, where we talk about all things tech. And today we are going to be giving you guys the second iteration of the do-it-yourself NAS video, where we actually install the operating system on there and get it set up for use. If you missed the first video, it'll be linked down in the description below. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is download the operating system, so you can navigate to freenas.org. And FreeNAS is what the operating system used to be called. In fact, you can still download that iteration of it, but the newest iteration is called TrueNAS Core. You're just going to click this download button right here at the beginning of the website. You might even get a pop-up prompting you to download. You can choose to do that too. When you get to this page, you can sign up for the newsletter if you wish. If not, just scroll down to the bottom. You'll see no thanks. Just take me to the download page. We're going to click on that. And then, as I said right here, you have the option between the legacy FreeNAS or the newer TrueNAS. So we're going to be going with TrueNAS Core. You can go ahead and click download. It's going to take you to the download page and ask you where to save it and all of that. So I will just save this in my downloads. And that's going to pop up there downloading at the bottom. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's not that big of a file, less than a gig. While that's working, if you don't already have Etcher, you want to come get Etcher. This is the software we're going to use to actually write this operating system to the flash drive that we're going to use to install it on the NAS box. So you just come here, choose your operating system, whatever, click download, and follow the normal download instructions like that, and you should be good to go. So the next thing that we need to do is open up Etcher, Lena Etcher. Here it is, and we're going to make sure that we have the correct USB drive selected. Like I said, the operating system file is like 1 gig, a little less than that actually, so you don't need a super big drive. I've got this one here. That looks good. I'm going to select the image from my files, and then I'm going to click flash. You might get a user access control prompt here. You can just click yes. It's going to start up, and this will take some time. Not that long, but probably at least a few minutes. So just let that run, and once it's done, you can remove the flash drive and join me over by your NAS to get that installed. Okay, so I've inserted my USB stick into my NAS and powered it on, and I'm going to follow my motherboard's instructions to go to the boot menu, which is to press F11 while it boots. And you can see it's entering the boot menu, and again, there we go. The monitor is just getting on there, so that's in the way, no big deal. But I'm going to go down to my USB stick. I'm going to go ahead and hit that, let it boot from it, and create the TrueNAS Core. Yep, there it is. Okay, so it's going to, it'll auto boot eventually, but we're just going to enter to go ahead and boot to it. It's going to take a second here. Okay, so now we have our first option here, and we are going to click install/upgrade. And then you can see we have 3 drives here. So if you'll recall from the first video, I have a 250 gig SSD and 2 4 terabyte NAS drives. We're going to install the operating system on the SSD. Now it is important to remember here that you cannot install the operating system on a drive that you want to use for storage for your NAS. So I've got this small SSD here. You can use a smaller SSD. I believe you can even use an SD card. It's up to you. You will then, of course, need an SD card reader. But I'm going to go ahead and choose this here. Spacebar to check the box there by that. And then it's going to give you a warning here because I don't have anything installed at all. I'm going to go ahead and click yes. And it's going to ask you for a password. So just go ahead and set this password to whatever you want your password to be for your NAS, and then hit enter. And unless you're using an ancient motherboard, you should boot via UEFI because your motherboard likely supports it. This is going to ask you if you want to create a 16 gigabyte swap partition on the boot device. I have the space to do this, and more importantly, what this does is it helps if you have not so much RAM. Now I have twice the recommended RAM for a setup like this, so I probably won't need it, but there's no reason not to do it because the SSD is only going to be used for the operating system anyways. It's basically just like a way to have some extra cheap RAM functioning storage, kind of. So I'm gonna go ahead and create this. Okay, so we're back here, and I have entered the IP address that we got from the last step into my web browser, and this is what we are given. So your username is going to be root. That's the same for everybody. And your password, you set that previously, so go ahead and enter whatever you set that to. Click login. Now I've already signed into this once. You are going to get a little pop-up. I recommend looking at the documentation. There's many things that your NAS core can do. We're only going to really be using it as a NAS, but it does have some server functionality, including virtualization and some other things. So this is what the dashboard looks like. You can get some information here about CPU usage, memory, all of that good stuff. So I recommend definitely exploring this. But for now, let's go ahead and get some stuff set up. So the first thing I'm going to go to is storage, and then pools. We're going to add a pool. We're going to create a new pool. Create. Okay, and I'm going to name this NAS, and then you can click suggest layout, and it will go ahead and suggest something if you don't know what to do. Now the default suggestion, if you have 2 drives like I do, is the mirror, which is RAID 1, which is definitely what we want. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then click create. The contents of all added disks will be erased. These are brand new disks, so no problem for me, but double check that you're using the correct disks, I guess. And this will create our pool. Okay, so that looks good. Okay, so now that we have our drive pool set up, we want to set a static route so that we don't run the risk of our DHCP server changing the IP address on our NAS and it becoming inaccessible. So we're going to come to the network tab, click interfaces, and as you can see, this is my Ethernet port right here. I'm going to click this little arrow and click edit. I'm going to uncheck the DHCP box, and I'm going to enter whatever IP address I want to give my NAS. For me, I'm going to do 192.168.1.248, and you can change the subnet mask here if you need to, but it will likely already be correct. And then you can click apply if that looks good, and it's going to give you the option to test your changes, which you absolutely want to do. Click test changes and then confirm, and we're going to open up a new tab here, and we're going to punch in that new IP address. And if it comes up and logs you in, you're good to go. You can save the changes at that point, and it will inform you that they've been made permanent. So the next thing that you need to do after that is you need to set up your share. So come to the sharing tab and choose Windows Shares SMB. We're going to click add. If you click this little drop down arrow here, since we just made our drive pool, you should see the drive pool you set up. If you click it, it'll auto populate the path, which is great. And then this name here is going to be the name of your share. So I'm going to name mine storage. You can name yours whatever you want. Just make sure that you know what you've called it. And then if everything looks okay, we'll click submit. And it may ask you to enable the SMB services if you've never done this before on this box. If it does, just click yes for everything, and you should be good to go. After that, we need to come to the accounts tab here and set up our user. So pay special attention here because this part can be a little finicky if not done correctly. So you're going to want to fill in this information. This is pretty straightforward. Username, email if you want, and then a password. Oops. Okay. This is where you want to pay special attention. Okay. So the only thing that you need to change here is you need to uncheck this primary group option and then click the drop down and select wheel. And then for auxiliary groups, scroll down a bit until you find built-in users. It should be somewhere around here. There it is. It's at the very bottom. Built-in users, and select that. And if that looks good there, primary group wheel, auxiliary groups, built-in users, then you should be good to go. One more thing of note though is this Microsoft account checkbox. You can check this if you do use a Microsoft account on your PC and you want to use those credentials instead, and that's what you'll be asked to sign in with instead, and it uses their security protocols. For me though, I'm just going to use the account I've created here. So if that all looks good, you can click submit. Okay, one last thing we need to do in the web interface here before we actually hit our share from our file explorer, and that is to fix our permissions. So let's go down to the shell tab, okay? And we're going to type a few commands here. Now, be careful because you are the root in this shell, so if you do any bad commands, it will accept them without warning. So just, we're gonna type cd space /mnt. We're gonna type ls, and we can see my NAS is there. So we're gonna type ls space -al to see the permissions. And I've already set my permissions up, but what you want to type is chmod, all one word, space 770 space, and then the name of your drive pool. For me, it's NAS with a / at the end, and then hit enter, and then you can double check that that worked by typing ls space -al again to look at the permissions. You're looking for the one that has the name of your drive pool at the end here, and you want it to look like this, where it has rwx, and then 3 dashes. That's what you're looking for. If that looks good, you should be good to go. So next, we're going to set up the access of your NAS via your normal Windows file explorer. Okay, so now I've opened up my file explorer and I need to map a network drive. So I've come here to this PC tab, and at the top you can see the choice to map a network drive here. I'm going to click this, and you can choose any drive letter here, whatever your heart desires. I'm going to choose N for NAS, and you want to do 2 backslashes followed by the static route IP address that you set up in the previous step. If you did not set up a static route, then what you want to do is just put the name of your server there, which is probably, if you left it as the default, just true NAS in all capitals. And then after that, you'll put the name of your share that you set up. Remember, we chose storage. You're going to leave the reconnected sign-in box checked so that anytime you restart your PC or anything like that, it always reconnects here. And then you want to connect using different credentials. And click finish, and then we need to enter the credentials that we set up when we set up our user. And you'll see it'll pop open. Wonderful. And then we just need to test that our permissions and everything are working here. So the easiest way to do that is to create a new folder and try to change the name of it. Test 1, 2, 3, enter. And if that works, you should be good to go. and you can, of course, set up more users if you've got other users you want to use. Just follow the same steps as previously specified. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. If you liked it, hit thumbs up for me. I'd much appreciate it. And consider subscribing maybe. Our next video is going to be building a video editing rig for my wife. We tried to edit the first video with her laptop, which we did succeed at, but man, was it sluggish and it was just real rough. So we're going to be building her a brand new rig. Got some pretty cool parts and stuff. You're definitely going to want to check that out. And I will make sure to link down in the description the links for the TrueNAS Core operating system download, the Etcher download, all of that good stuff. So don't forget to check that out. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.